I'm Leith I'm one of Chris's friends, and for those of you who don't know me. I've been friends with Chris since just a little bit after he met Kendall, and one of the first things I can remember, at the time I was working for the alternative student newspaper, which was alternative because we kept losing our offices. And so we were working in the apartment of one of the editors, and his roommate was one Chris Mace. And I remember it was 2007 because I was working on a cover where it was an image of the Virgin Mary and child, and I was replacing the child with an iPhone, which was the iPhone. And Chris sort of came over and watched me a little bit, and finally he said, "You gotta show me how to do that." And I tell that story because that's one of the hallmarks of our friendship, is that he and I learned so much from each other. And I have to say, I'm always asking him, how do you do that? You gotta show me how to do that. Whenever he's working on cars, whenever he's playing Civ, whenever he's building something, when he's cooking, I can't do that. I'm always saying, you gotta show me how to do that. So I just want to say I'm really happy for both of you, and you've got a great life ahead of you, and you gotta show me how to do that.
So up next is Kandace. Such so pretty, I love her. She is Kandace Maid Honor. And so give it up for
I'm going to try very hard not to cry, but I can already tell you I'm going to fail. Okay, so I wrote my speech out so that I can not forget it all. So we'll see how much I can get through. First, let me say thank you for being here today to share this special day with Kendall. It means a lot to her that you're here, so in turn, that means a lot to me. From the outside looking in, you could never understand it. From the inside looking out, you could never explain it. That was a quote I heard some time ago that I feel fits our family quite well. If someone was to pick a single word to describe the McMillans, that was nice. It would be loyal. As some of you may know, I'm Kendall's cousin. While most people can't even list their cousin's full name, I'm lucky enough to know Kendall like a sister. Our parents made many sacrifices so that we could grow up side by side. I'm not sure if they knew the bond that they were creating at the time, but if they did, kudos to them. We always joke and say that Kendall and I are cousin sisters, which sounds like it could be a new series on TLC. Our paths have been tied together since we both first met. I've been able to share a large majority of my best and worst memories with Kendall, from my first heartbreak to sleepless nights with conversation of autistic tendencies, even new memories made just recently, I will always cherish. Like Sarah making all of the gay boys gasp in horror as she slipped off a platform. To every time I hear Lady Gaga's song, I live for the applause, I can't help but think of drag queens and furries. Kendall. This is a real inside joke.
It's not as bad as it sounds. It's as bad as it sounds.
Yeah, sometimes worse. I could never fully explain my loyalty to you, Kendall. But know that every step that both of you make in your new lives together, I will be here with 1,000% support in absolutely any way that I can. Chris. we always stick together. While I'll still always take Kendall's side, I will extend to you as well. We'll always be in both of your corners, supporting you in every way that we can. And Chris, especially, thank you for loving Kendall like you do. Thank you.
That story really is as bad as it sounds. All right, next up we have Leith. This is Kendall's brother, for those of you who don't know. Yeah, hugging like they're brothers, because that was kind of awkward. Yeah, give it up to Leith.
I know, that's worried. Are there 6 feet on top?
The brain is really large, that's what you're going to see.
English major.
It's funny. So, I'm really glad I get to share my heart with you two in such an intimate setting with all these people I've never met on this microphone. Chris, you need to understand that I love this female with all my heart. So I'll never think so highly of anybody that I say they're worthy of her. But you're a good kid. You don't do drugs. You don't have violent tendencies. No schizophrenic episodes to speak of. No offensive tattoos. Bathe regularly. And you like dogs. Out of all the guys my sister could have settled for, I'm glad she settled for you. I'd stop there, but this is a wedding and I haven't embarrassed you or myself enough, so let's do it. When Kendall brought you home, I looked for the same things I looked for in her other boyfriends. What is this guy going to give me to try and win my affection? One of her old boyfriends gave me a 3-inch binder full of X-Men cards, so there was a lot to live up to. But I realized fairly early on that there's a mosquito playing. That Chris was more concerned in giving to Kendall than to me. My sister's past boyfriends were all schmucks who just wanted a relationship, and I think they saw my sister as someone easy to be with. But Chris, a guy who has every reason to just want a relationship, was always more interested in Kendall. Now, to me, the thought of someone wanting to romantically date my sister is utterly revolting, but that's probably a personal thing. However, Chris's affections have always been far from that. They're kind of sweet in their weird, Chrissy way. You're always kind to her, not to say that you two don't get on each other's nerves, but never have I once heard you demean her or treat her unfairly. You never stood in the way of her career, never said, "What about me?" when she decided what she wanted to do with her life. You're very supportive, and I notice, and I approve. And I know that your incentive to treat Kendall right is not because you know that I will annihilate you with your hands, which I will. Your incentive is that you truly want to see her happy. You love her. And for that reason, I know I can be content with you being with her. And I know I won't have to pound your face in. Kendall, a.k.a. Shortstop, a.k.a. Dindles, a.k.a. Dr. Dindles. Let's get some facts out of the way. You and I are sister and brother, respectively. We're made out of the same genetic stuff. You could have come out any number of ways. You could have come out like me. That's frightening. But no, you came out this way, didn't you? That's important. All the most caring and pleasant parts of both our parents were given to you, and consequently, none of the tall parts. I think that was the last short joke. Ever since we were little, ever since I was little, sorry, that was the last short joke. You've been a role model for me. I'm sorry. That one just came out. I was like, I didn't realize it. You've been a role model for me, whether you knew it or not. In my first memory of you, you were were in your bedroom and you were acting like a teacher giving me a lesson on division or something, while I colored the Cookie Monster and thought I was following along. Since then, I tried to keep following along until one day you brought home a huge microbiology textbook and I thought, maybe I needed a role model. When you started doing really well in college and then grad school and then became a doctor, I started to take for granted that you were always going to be successful. You started to seem less like a sister and more like a robot programmed to do well in life. A robot hardwired with an innate skill for kindness and understanding, who is consistently thoughtful and cannot be any other way. But I know you're not a robot. Don't ask me how. I just do. And the fact that you are so kind and gracious to me, as a human who I know has flaws and troubles, endears you so much more. You have an immensely tough job in a pretty hectic city, yet you still make time for me and let me crash in Cody's room when I need to. You always seem happy, and that makes me happy. I think I felt like I took you for granted because I could always count on you to be happy, and it seemed to me like I was selfishly using your happiness. If I ever felt down or anything of the sort, I could count on you to be patient and courteous, even if I gave you grumpy eyes or snapped at you. When I started to think hard about writing this, I realized that I value your soul immensely because I can always rely on it to bring me up. And that is the greatest thing about you. That is why I'm happy to see you marry someone who doesn't hold this side of you back. So if I have one hope for you two for the rest of your lives, it's that you don't hold each other back. As far as I can tell, you haven't and you won't. To Christopher, you're all right with me. Don't expect me to go any further than that. And most importantly, don't you dare blow this. To Kendall, I love you. If you're as good a wife as you are a sister, that goober next to you is the luckiest goober in the world. So, if everyone could raise their glasses like they do in the movies. Here's to your health and a long, happy marriage. May you both use this union to learn lessons from each other. The lessons you need to learn, the lessons you never expected you learn, but most importantly, the lessons you could never learn alone. Bless you both.
Is that the last?